Going live, and are. All right. Figured it'd be good to talk about 1 full year doing the channel full time. Friday before my birthday last year, and my last day of full-time work at my old startup was September 7th. And it has been a whirlwind of a year in the best way. And it's hard to believe that a year has gone by. And it's been like a few weeks since I've done one of these, just because things have been crazy good recently. And I've neglected this channel a little bit just because I've been trying to keep things rolling with a Kavalier. I'm going to make sure my fan is turned off. I should move that remote closer to the desk. All right. So clearly in the background, the studio is just as much of a mess as it was last year. I'm working on that a little bit today. I did a lot more declining of just anything in the summer because I'm trying to get caught up. And then also, we had the baby. So rolling back to last year, my expectations have not matched reality of being a full-time creator over the last year. I haven't been as consistent as I would like. I haven't grown subscribers the way that I like. I haven't put in the things that I wrote down that I wanted to do in the next year. I've accomplished a lot, but I haven't accomplished the things that I want. But the things that I've accomplished, I am very proud of. So I guess the first big one is that I now have 4 people helping me out with the channel in different ways. Video editor. I now have a guy who, Steve, he's my assistant and accountability / content manager. I have some writers for the site. Zach, who I talked about in my last video, is my personal trainer. He also writes for the site. And so I always want to have us build up kind of a team that would work on those sort of things. And that has come to play. I have kept my sponsorships low while growing affiliates, so I don't have to rely on sponsorships, which is a huge one. I've been able to keep up some semblance of a pace with the videos. Like when I was working full time, I was still getting out 4 videos a week. I've pretty much kept that up. I've had a few weeks where it's been I've missed some of those deadlines, but I'm still able to get a lot of videos out. I haven't, what I kept talking about in my earlier live streams where I wanted to reduce the number of videos, but then, increase the quality and focus more on the roundups. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but that's partially a choice. It's I still want my channel to be a resource for brands. And I can just see in the last, 3 weeks, the polo video, the sneaker supplement video, and then the strength training video, all those videos did way better than average. And so I can see in my analytics the direction I need to continue to go. I have a whole slate for October of individual brand reviews and unboxings. And so I'm not quite there yet, but I can see in the next couple of months that I can get to that point. And so it's something that I wanted to do. It's something that I'm still working towards, but I'm not the channel's not going to shut down because I didn't get there. I've never really looked at my view numbers and my subscriber numbers. Those are vanity metrics. Those are things that people look at as whoa, look at that. But Raphael from the Gentleman's Gazette put me up on a slide at Menfluential in February and showed me my channel and the monthly average views that I do compared to a channel with 2 million subscribers, and my monthly views were higher. And it's that's just the way my channel has always been set up. It's a lot of work, and part of what I would like to do is kind of reduce my workload while increasing the quality of video. But I feel that's still a muscle that I'm trying to flex. So in the last year, some major things that have happened. Number one, in the first couple of months, I think I talked about this when it happened. I forgot to run payroll for myself. So part of the process of going full time on the channel was setting up all the proper infrastructure for me to do the channel as a full-time business. So setting up bank accounts, setting up a payroll system, setting up there's all this stuff that you take for granted when you're in a full-time career that you need to do as an entrepreneur, that are the things that I'm not crazy about doing, but they still need to be done. Reconciling bank accounts. I talked about this in a previous one. I didn't do any of the bank account reconciliation until it was due for tax time. But this year I have been reconciling accounts on a monthly basis. I've been tagging all of my expenses, and I'm way more organized than I was not even a year ago, but 6 months ago when I was doing all the taxes. So major stuff is that a couple of major milestones in subscribers, which is nice. Major milestones in revenue increases, which year over year, I'm like 120% up, which is really nice. The Alan Edmonds series was huge. So in January, I did a video on Alan Edmonds. They reached out to me because they saw that video. And then that's what they invited me up to do the factory tour and the Alan Edmonds series of videos. And that is something that, like, 4 years ago when I started the channel, I had dreamed of getting a video to that level of quality and that type of interaction with a brand. And I got there, and it was a way, I did it in my own way. Like I wrote that. We went up there and I had an idea of what I wanted to get for the footage and for the videos. And then I wrote that script when I got back, and I was able to do it independent of the brand. I had to send it to the brand just because they're a public company and I couldn't talk about very specific financial numbers, and like, that's fine, but they had no input on the content or the editorial. And so, like, that's, to me, that video series represents like exactly where I want to go in the future. Is like, I can tell the stories of really cool brands. I can do it in a way that is like deeply engaging and informational, but also in my own style. So the Alan Edmonds one was huge because that's like a level of validation from a major established brand for a medium-sized channel like mine that I really appreciate. And then not long after that, so I started the conversation in February with Bottoli, which is a heritage woolen mill in Italy, to do a trip for them and do something similar to what I had in mind for the Alan Edmonds video. I didn't have those done at the time, but that Alan Edmonds series was such a learning process in creating that type of video, shooting that type of video. 1 month full-time video feels like it was yesterday. But that was such a learning process, and it took me so far out of my comfort zone. I don't think I've ever worked on anything professionally or personally that took that much time and effort to create that video. So it was so much learning, but it's made this next series about Bottoli, which we shot in Italy last week. It's making this a lot easier as I go forward. And so I'm looking forward to that one. The big thing with that one is most of it was shot in Italian. So I don't know exactly what footage I'm sitting on until I've sent it to somebody to get it. I sent it to Steve to get it translated, my content manager and assistant. And so the Alan Edmonds series and the Bottoli series are huge. Also in the last year, like, in my personal life has been very good. It's been really nice to have the level of flexibility that I've had while doing this. Like, it's a weird dichotomy between, I don't have anybody to truly answer to other than the upload schedule and kind of YouTube. But I saw in July and August, when I kind of took those months off as we had our baby, that even if I step away for a month, like, the channel keeps growing. My income isn't really affected by taking that time off. And that's really like the goal of what I set up is in here, is that I can do that. And I can, right today at noon, I'm going to take my son to pick up a bike at REI because we got a bike for him. It's like, I can go do that kind of stuff, which is really nice. And it's also created like a medium level of pressure at all times, because like, even when I'm like turned off at night, I'm still thinking like, oh, I should get this done, or I should have this. I crunch a lot because I need to get these videos and everything done. And so who was talking about it? I think it was Casey. It was either Casey Neistat or there was another YouTuber Patrick Willems. Patrick Willems did a video on the kind of like increased level of just constant, it's not stress. It's just this like background anxiety that you're like, I could be creating right now, but I'm not. And so I was always really good at that before. It's like at 5 o'clock, I shut off and I go spend time with the family, and like I take care of bedtime and bath time. And then on weekends, it's like we go for hikes and we do all this outside stuff. And so making sure I'm compartmentalizing that in a way that doesn't affect the outside life has been, I've been practicing it more, but it hasn't really been that big of an issue. And then I'm trying to think of any other, we had our baby in July 30th. We had our third child. I took some time off there. And the 3 weeks after that were the 3 weeks after that were really difficult. My wife went through a lot of postpartum anxiety and stress. And so like, I feel very lucky that I was able to drop everything, walk away, take care of the family, and then kind of come back to it in my own time. And I'm still just kind of getting caught up from that. But now, after I was getting caught up, getting stuff done, and then I took the Italy trip. Italy was last Monday through Friday. We came back. I just picked up all the footage on a hard drive. It's 200 gigabytes. And so I'm sitting on a lot of footage that will then be created into videos. But now that like that is done, I can really ramp up and get stuff done because I want to take, a few weeks off in December around the holidays and just kind of relax a little bit. And so I feel like now is my time to get a lot of stuff done October and November, and then just kind of like tail off in December because, viewership is down. People are buying stuff for the holidays. It's not going to be as important to get the videos out. And it's been cool in the last year to have unexpected opportunities come up just by nature of, doing the channel like this. I've worked with a couple of companies to do consulting on things that were applicable to my old company. So like some of the research and surveys that I did, I've done a couple of like consulting calls with companies, which is like it's kind of like another revenue stream, but it's time for money. So it's not something that's like scalable or applicable, but it's been nice to have validation to say like, I did this thing, I have the experience, and now I can kind of work and apply that experience to other companies. Just talking to the brands has been huge. So like getting to know a little bit about the brands that I've worked with over the past 4 years and learn a little bit more about them and start to work with them a little bit more. And in just setting up all the infrastructure, like the past couple months have been big for me, especially working with Steve and having him to be more accountable to. So like we have calls on Mondays and I say, this is the stuff I need to get done. He can take some of the things that either I'm not good at or are just my time is better spent doing other things and take care of things like, emailing brands for affiliates has been huge. And then also working into a process, like it was about a year ago, I did that sneaker roundup and I had like the outlines of this blog that had all the information for all the sneakers, but I never actually published it. It's been a whole year because like writing and publishing are not my strong suits. I can make videos all day long, but kind of supplementing for my weaknesses has been huge in order. And part of that too, it's like, I can sit here and edit all these videos every day, but it's better to send them to Ashley because I can then spend my time creating more videos and researching brands and testing all that sort of stuff out. And same thing with the writing. So now it's like, I have a process I get my outline done for the videos that I'm going to shoot. I get that to the writer. The writer creates a really nice blog post that I can then embed the video in. So I'm building up the blog while also kind of building up the channel. Being more disciplined about creating lists of videos that I want to make and actually getting to them. And so that's been a big thing with Steve is kind of that accountability aspect of saying like, this is what I got to get done. And also building, I'm building a new part of the site similar to the American by Choice site. So I'm working with a developer to kind of get that up and running. And I'm really excited to launch that in a few weeks. I wanted it done by now, but my best laid plans don't always come through. And it's been a ride. I'm very lucky, very thankful. I think I try to say that in every video, and like just the interactions on Instagram and YouTube, just with the guys that I recognize having followed me for several years. And it's like like anybody that follows a channel and is like a fan of that it's like you watching this are even more engaged in that, and I really appreciate all the time and attention that I get from so many people. And it's like, it's very fulfilling to hear from guys that took my advice, a month ago or 6 months ago, and has like kind of sent them in a good direction and improved their lives in a certain way. And it's like, that's why I do it, is because I know the power of all this stuff. And it's so good to share. And it's really nice. And so it's also been cool in the last year to build up, I left when I worked at Apple. I worked with some of the most incredible people, like smart, like excellent people at Apple. And then I left, and I'm still friends with like a group of those. And then at First Insight, same thing, sharp people, super smart, like intelligent, dedicated, like excellent people. And then I stayed in touch with the people who left First Insight, but now staying in touch with people who are either still there or want to make in contact there. But now, like me being my own little island and entity, building more relationships with other people that do this sort of stuff like YouTube and Instagram and things. And so like in the last year, it's been really nice to, develop friendships. Brock and I have always been really strong. We do the podcast together, but somebody like Raphael from Gentleman's Gazette or Justin Jeffers, Fine Young Jen, and Jay Butler, it's like having those established relationships with people who are doing similar things is very powerful. But then also outside of that, I have one of my uncles who's a really strong mentor as I've been like kind of building a business. And then some of the some of my former VPs and bosses that, took an interest in me and want to see me grow and develop, like they have different skill sets and applicable. So like kind of just having this network of people, and then also meeting more people who are in Pittsburgh doing this sort of thing have been really powerful, just to have like local resources. And so, having this kind of group of people, what I most miss about having a traditional job are the relationships and people that you're forced to have by nature of working together. And because I don't have that now, it's like a two-sided coin thing. It's like now I can develop relationships with people that I really want, but they don't necessarily need to. And so it's more of a genuine relationship, which is really interesting. And so it's been very, very cool. So I'm very lucky to have this freedom and flexibility. It does, I think about this a lot as kind of the underlying reasons for this sort of stuff. And it's like, I set out to help guys live better, look better, feel better. And like the value that I feel like I've put into the world and put into the market then comes back and allows me to have this freedom. So it's like this whole cycle. And I'm very cognizant of that as I move forward, with brands and things, because people aren't crazy about sponsored videos, but sponsored videos help to, grow a channel and help me invest in things like buying all of this gear and equipment and things, but doing it in a way that I feel is native to my channel myself. Like, I am not crazy about the way other channels do sponsorships, but, ways that I feel like, I think the Everlane one is a great example. The Everlane one is, it's a video I would do with or without a sponsorship. Just so happens that they sponsored, which then I can take that, the money that was paid for the sponsorship and invest more in the channel. And so, Jonathan Wander, if you're watching, I always keep in mind 17 minutes. And, but I don't think this was as much rambling. There's a lot of updates. There's a lot of good things that happened in the last year. And I'm excited for it. In the next year, I do have a nice list of things I want to accomplish. A lot of it is more about, it's not necessarily benchmarks to say like, a subscriber number or monthly views number or things like that. It's more about the process. It's like, am I perfecting the process to create videos? And am I generating the same level of audience feedback and making that sort of difference versus saying like, I want to be at 250,000 subscribers in a year or something, because based on my growth trajectory rate, it's more like, am I creating the best videos and getting the best blogs? And it's more about that sort of stuff, because a big thing too, I didn't mention, was getting a CRM in place, a customer relationship manager, and having that integrate with my videos so that I can keep track of saying like, here's the brands I work with, here's the people that I've worked with, and making it a more human connection versus just having, some sort of transactional relationship with anybody, with the brands, with my audience, with, anybody that I come in contact with, and like making diligent notes about things that are happening. And so a lot of this, it's been so much learning in the last year about process and like the things you take advantage of while working at a big company, and, accounting and taxes and just like all the little stuff, but also like looking outwardly to say, people have done this, people have accomplished things, and how can I learn from that sort of stuff? And so that should do it for 1 year. I try to do these things as the thought is fresh in my mind, because if I don't, I like write notes down and it never comes out. And so that's why it's a little bit more of a stream of consciousness. And I'm sure I'll think of things that I missed later on today. I got this new microphone to upgrade the podcast quality, which is nice. But I also, one of the things I was working on just before this is I've done 2 fundraisers, just local fundraisers. I've put together like baskets, like goodie baskets of things, and like get the brand out there a little bit. And then I also, I got a PR guy that has been really helpful. I got a major write-up in one of the local papers. I'm going to be going on one of their live morning shows very soon. And that's been kind of going on in the background. I'm working with the Fred Rogers Association to get access to his sweaters, to talk about him in like a style context. And so I got a lot of cool like things in the fire. And I'm looking forward to the next year. And so a lot of it's going to be more of the same, a lot, videos, style, that sort of thing. The more opportunities I can get, like the Botticelli in Italy or the Allen Emmons thing, and Horween just outside of Chicago. Like the more stuff that I can do like that, I'm not chasing that yet, but I want to. That's definitely where I want to go. And then more roundups. I think there's a lot of, it's like there's a never ending list of opportunity. It's just how much I can like start to execute on, and which has also been a learning. So I hope the audio comes through pretty well on the Yeti. It was a nice microphone. But I'm ending there at 20 minutes. Thanks for your support, gentlemen and maybe ladies that watch this sort of stuff. And I'm looking forward to really hitting October hard, because I got a big, long list of stuff and videos that I'm going to be getting done here. And hope you guys have an excellent day.